Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. Recently, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he sent me a message where it was a link to an Instagram reel of a woman who is a specialist, or at least excellent, in talking about narcissists. And when she started speaking, I was blown away with some of the stuff that she was saying. And I was thinking how that relates to being in a sexless relationship. Because one of the things that she said that really hit me at the core was the fact that she said that narcissists are very good at using your own insecurities or your own emotions against you. So they don't, they're not cruel like a psychopath. How they operate is more along the lines of really picking at the thing that you feel the most insecure in. So they trigger that. Once they trigger that, they use it. Then they use it against you. And I thought, wow, that is crazy. And I think to a certain extent, women naturally gravitate towards narcissistic tendencies. Now, when I say tendencies, I'm not saying that they are narcissists. And I'll just try and preface it by saying, when I say narcissistic tendencies, is because they're sexualized pretty earlier on than we are as men. So if you look at a 13, 14-year-old girl, when she starts having breasts and her hips, those are the indicators of childbearing. Usually men start behaving different around them. Doesn't mean that they want to have sex with them. I know there's creeps out there. That's not what I'm talking about. But naturally, as behavior, people behavior changed around them. And they notice this. So it could be like a 16-year-old who's behaving different around a 13-year-old. And as they get older, people start getting bolder to get closer to them. And then by the time they're 18, it's fair game. It sounds horrible me saying it that way. So when she's 18 and she's legal, it means that anyone can chat her up. So it means that if you look at it from that perspective, that when she's 15, the number of guys that want to sleep with her, for example, 100, and then by the time she gets to 18, there's at least 1,000 people in terms of 6 degrees of separation that could potentially fuck her. So it's a terrible way of putting it. But if you get my point, that as they get older, the amount of people that she can sleep with gets bigger. And she will know this based off of how, when she's interacting to men. So when she's speaking to women, because there's no sexual interest, unless she's a lesbian, there's no sexual interest, it's quite direct, it's quite, I'm not trying to get anything from you. And if you watch women interacting, it's quite, it can be quite a very difficult conversation to listen to, because they can be savage with it. And sometimes they don't, not as savage as men, where they can be very, very direct. They can really say to another woman, "You're fat," without saying you're fat. So they can just say things, "Oh, that dress looks whatever," and then the other one knows she means that she's fat. So women, they've got a whole entire way of interacting that's different to men. And my point being that when you think about women with interactions towards men, they know that they have a power over men. And because they have that power, that which is a sexual access, because again, she has to give you permission in order for you to have sex with her, that permission becomes the thing that she uses to move you or drive your will and drive how you want to do, and they can use it to drive your emotions. Now, because they know this, and you come in with the mindset of wanting to impress her, it means that even your boundaries that you've set within your relationship, she will overstep those boundaries and use your own emotions and your own insecurities against you in order to. When I think about it, it's absolutely quite savage. So she can use those in order to break you down. And some of you guys are broken. Some of you guys suffer depression. Some of you guys are nowhere in terms of thriving within your life right now because you haven't got this figured out. And a lot of it's to do with skill. Like seduction is a skill. And it's a skill that you work over and you build over time, like a muscle, just like a muscle. And it's very important that when you understand seduction, it doesn't matter if that person is a narcissist or has got narcissistic tendencies, because you understand the actual skill, or at least the process of seduction, and really using it to your advantage. It doesn't matter what a woman is and how she behaves, because out of loads of women that I've met, a lot of them have been quite narcissistic, especially when the few times I've been with models where they've got consistent validation from men telling them that they're pretty. Oh God, they're terrible. But a woman like that, again, there's ways around all of that way of thinking, that framing of thinking, which it was weird that, you would have a celebrity walking around with this woman and you could steal that woman away from the celebrity, because there's just skills when it comes to seduction. So when I say this, I'm not saying it to brag. I'm just saying it that the difference between you being in a sexless relationship and you having sexual success always comes down to skill. And it comes down to the inputs that you're putting in, because again, those inputs can be influenced by how the woman behaves. So if she's a narcissist, she'll be using a pussy to wield or move you at will. So if it means that she wants you to be doing dishes, she will use dishes. She will just sit around and be lazy around the house and just move you to work down to the bone, to the point where you're just never good enough, you're never doing enough, and you're continuously trying to impress this person that's impossible to impress. And then you find yourself in a place that you're sexless, even though you're trying to do so much to make things work. And personally, I don't know enough to talk about narcissists, but this, from that information that I got, I kind of knew where they were going. And this is my own experiences that I felt within meeting women in narcissism. And when she said that they can use narcissism that you use your own emotions against yourself, I thought that was really powerful. Then I think having control of yourself, and then really not being indifferent to how they behave, and also being indifferent to their pussy. Just being different to it. Like, you can wield it all you want, but I'm not going to comply because you're either going to give me or not. If you're not going to give it to me, fuck you, and I don't give a shit. And that's my own attitude towards it. If my wife withheld sex from me, she knows for a fact that I won't give a shit. Now I don't give a shit. Before I did, and it caused me to stay in a sexless relationship. But the fact that I don't give a shit, it means that has got no power over me. And therefore, she needs to use that. She needs to raise her game in order to pick my interest. And that role reversal that we have is pretty good for us to keep high frequency within our relationship. So, and that alone is an episode that I'm going to be making at some point, like just flipping the interaction. How do you flip that? There's actually a skill. In fact, I'm going to do. There's a program I'm working on. It's called the Reignited Men. So it's a masterclass that I'm going to be working on right now, and that's part of the lessons that I'll be teaching. Like, how do you flip that dynamic? So look forward for that, and that masterclass is going to be inside the Facebook group. So if you're going to join the Facebook group, right now we're doing the 30-day get your game back, so you can move from sexless relationship to sexual success. So it's 30 days of you doing different tasks and really just learning the scale of seduction. So thank you very much for listening. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.